All right, so I combed out a few locks here. Let's do a sample spin and see if turning this into plying thread is actually possible. So I'm just going to start. I'm using my fast flyer because thread needs a lot of twist. And let's give this a go. Oh, hold on. I kind of need a brake band. All right. I want it to be thread, so I got to get it down to just a couple of hairs. Got my uptake just a little too high. Oof. Okay, that's a little too fine. I'm going to decrease my uptake some more. There we go. Now the advantage to making my own plying thread is if I make it in white, I can dye it to any color I want. You know what might be fun? I know fun is a relative term, but make a white plying thread and a white yarn, ply them together, and then dye them and see how they look. All right, let's have a look. See if we're getting enough twist in this. Wow, it's really stiff. Look at how stiff that is. Which would make for, honestly, a great plying thread. Okay. That's actually not bad. It's a very open twist, but I want to test it for strength. Okay, it will pull apart, but it did take some effort. Now, this is very much a hair, not a fleece, like not a wool. I don't think it has scales. I don't have a microscope to check it. That was Bobo just racing by with the zoomies. So I suspect I'm gonna need a ton of twist to hold this together. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to ply it for it to stay together. So I'm gonna make it a little bit thicker because the really thin is not working. But I tell you what, we get a ton of yardage out of this. All right. I'm going to just call that enough for a sample. And I'm going to grab a bit of the dyed fiber so we can see how the color comes out when we spin it. And I'm going to draft it, pre-draft a little bit. All right. Oh, here comes trouble. Bobo's on the prowl. All right, let's give this a go. Now I'm spinning from the tips. I wonder if it would spin better from the butt. Let's flip it around and give that a try. It may be a very directional fiber. Well, you know what? It does spin easier from the butts. So there we go. We just learned something. Now, interestingly enough, as I'm spinning, because I don't pinch my fiber really hard up here to keep the twist from going in, it's actually traveling down this super long fiber, and it's turning it into a semi-woolen spin because there is a bit of twist in the drafting zone, but that's actually making it easier to spin because it's already caught a few of the fibers before I'm even going to start to put twist in there. And you can use a super long, they call it the short forward draft, but in this case, it's a long forward draft because the short forward is supposed to be like just a little less than the length of the staple. But this staple is so long that I'm probably doing 2 or 3 drafts per staple length. It's so crazy long. I love it. This is just so fun. Totally not what I expected, but a great deal of fun. All right, so we're coming to the end of that one. So now we're going to go back to the white, and I'm going to spin a little bit of it from the fold. This is going to make it probably super hairy, but I just want to try it. So I'm just going to take a little bit. That's a staple length, guys. 1 staple length. It's crazy. I'm going to fold it over the finger. And we're going to try it. I mean, why the heck not, right? Even spinning it from the fold, we're still looking at a good 4 or 5 inch length. It's crazy. But you know what? It's actually spinning pretty nicely from the fold. Probably easier than spinning it from the end. My wheel is making all sorts of protestations because I'm trying to spin it at such a high speed that it's creaking. It's like, no, what is this? We like gentle spinning. Oh, poor Lars. All right, so that's the white spun from the fold. And then we will do a bit of color spun from the fold. I can't get over how it took the dyes. Just gorgeous. All right, here we go. Spinning the colored from the fold. Whoops. There we go. Actually, spinning it from the fold is so much nicer. I think that's how I'm going to spin it. We'll see how it looks in the finished jar. It just makes it easier to manage that amazing staple length. All right, there we go. We got 2 ways to spin it. Now, you're definitely not going to get anything super soft out of this fleece. Everything I've read does say that it felts beautifully. So, I mean, as far as felting goes, with the length of that staple, it would be amazing. All right. We spun these, so we're going to ply S. All right. Here we go. Tracer uptake. See how much it's overspun. Going to put a little less twist in there. Now, if you want to spin this softer, you want to have way less twist. And you want to keep it like really low and slow, and probably spin it thicker to make for a softer yarn. Maybe we'll do this sample and then we'll do another one where we go for thick, low twist, thick, and see what we get. I'll have to change my setup on my wheel, but while we're experimenting, we might as well do that. Now, because I'm chain plying this, it is coming out quite a bit thicker than a thread, but it would still make a good plying yarn. It's still thin enough for that. And the color is absolutely amazing. So this is the worsted spun. And it definitely came out finer than the spinning from the fold, but I don't think I was trying too hard for fine when I was spinning from the fold. All right, and now we're down to our first sample, which was spinning worsted with the white. I have a bobble trying to climb the chair behind me now. He's such a little monster. All right, here we go. Ready? This is gonna so just twist up on itself. Spring! Knew it was gonna do that. All right, so here's how it looks as thread, as like a plying yarn. Actually, I think this would make an amazing plying yarn. The colors stay very nice. And this would be worsted, spun very fine right here. And it's very strong. That took a lot to break. So yeah, this would make a really good plying thread. Let me contemplate that. I'm going to reset my wheel with my regular flyer. And we're going to try doing low twist single and then ply it low as well to try to see if we can keep it a little softer. Back in a minute. All right, I have my regular flyer back on. It's one of the things I love about the Lendrum is how easy it is to just switch between the flyers. All right, let's get this leader charged and onto the bobbin. Now, I'm going to use a really high uptake. I heard it described on a course I watched once as shove it up the orifice. So you want to get the twist in there and get it on the bobbin as fast as possible. I'm using a loop leader. Fold it over and then just get some twist in there and just onto the wheel. Get a little bit of twist in there, onto the wheel. A little bit of twist in there, onto the wheel. You can even do the park and draft method. So park it, draft, let the twist in. When you see about where you want it to be, onto the wheel. Draft it out, let the twist in. We want to keep it low twist. So if we did a ply back sample right now, like it's low twist. So as soon as we get enough twist in there, onto the wheel. So I'm hardly treadling at all. All right, on you go. This would be a good place to see how little twist I'm actually putting in it. And then it's on the wheel. So just kind of giving a couple of treadles and then on the wheel. All right, we want to keep this really low twist. So we'll pop this off, pop on a fresh bobbin. Now we want to have this be low twist as well. So I'm going to up my uptake and just a couple of treadles. So basically, to keep the twist low, I make my chains, and the only twist I'm adding is as it's going onto the wheel. Make my chain, only twist is going on the wheel. Now, if I decided this was something I'd want to do, I would do a 2-ply, an honest 2-ply with 2 bobbins, as opposed to chain plying. It's just for sampling. It's a lot easier to just chain ply. Try to focus and talk at the same time. Okay, see, that twist was so low it actually drifted apart. So we'll just re-knot. And that can be a problem with the low twist. Oh, there we go. Okay, we reached the end. I think this is just going to be way too hairy, but we will have a look. Oh yeah, there's no break in that. All right, we'll just look at it like this then. You can see it makes for a very hairy yarn, but it is a great deal softer with the softer twist. But that would be so itchy. It would be great for stitching, like for using it to just stitch onto things to make a trim or something. But yeah, it's so hairy and that would be so itchy. But yeah, I could see this would probably be a really good felting yarn. All right, so I think the best use is going to be, let's turn it into plying thread. I'm going to set myself up for spinning fine, and I'm going to spin it all up into the finest thread I can possibly make. And I think I'm going to go with a 2-ply, and we will see how fine of a yarn we can make. But so far, I'm just loving the way it dyes and the blends of colors and the strength. It's a very strong fiber. So this is going to be interesting. It's probably going to take me quite a while to spin this up, but I will check back with you periodically as I'm working. We're getting a nice rhythm going here. I'm spinning from the butt, and I've just opened up the locks. So because this is such a long fleece, each draft is like 8 feet long. Okay, so I'm exaggerating. It's not 8 feet, but it is quite long. So rather than keep pulling back that way, I'm going to turn my hand sideways and I'm going to draft across. So draft across until it's the thickness you want, then just bring your finger across. And basically you're using that first joint to pinch the fiber as you move it across so it doesn't drift apart. So you can get the twist into it and turn it into a stable thread. Well, that one was a little thicker than I wanted. There we go. Let me move this forward so you can see it a little better. And then you just draft across to add the twist. Now, once you get the feel for it, this can be so relaxing because you're doing everything by feel. You don't even need to really watch it. You can watch TV, which I am watching a British show called Unforgotten. I'm on to episode 4, and it's really good. Me and my British crime dramas. I'm telling you, I love them. I'm so addicted. So I'm just going to sit and do my thread spin here. And when I have 2 bobbins, I'm going to use my e-spinner to ply them together, I think, because they're going to need so much twist. And when I'm spinning thread, the plying is the part that makes me absolutely mental. So I think using my eel 6 might make it easier. All right, I have my singles done and now I'm plying. Because it is a lace weight, I like to use this Nitty Naughty. It's a horizontal one rather than a vertical, so there's not as much tension on the singles and they won't snap. I don't have it tensioned at all. The only tensioning I'll do is with my hand. So I have my e-spinner set up here, and I just keep the foot pedal in my lap, and then I can just whoop, and away I go. I have it set on very high speed so I can get lots of twist really fast, and I have discovered that the e-spinner is beautiful for lace weight. Look at that baby go, and I'm just like dee 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 dee. This is freaking awesome. And then if I want to stop, I can just stop by pressing the foot pedal. Now, this is very stiff fiber, so it's not taking a lot of twist. It's just kind of wrapping around itself, even though, as you can see, there is quite a lot of twist in there. So I am going to continue plying this while I watch some more TV. And when I have it all spun up, I will come back and we'll take it off the bobbin and we'll see how it looks. It's going to be so severely over twisted, but we'll give it a bath and see how it turns out after that. See you in a bit. What we're going to do is we're going to do like a version of cordless core spinning, where we're going to spin the core and wrap at the same time. So the first thing I need to do is open up some fibers. Now this is reminding me a lot of an adult mohair, just not as silky, but it is still very interesting fleece, and I really want to discover all that I can do with it, because there's so much of it. The length is ridiculous. Now I'm going to take my carded locks here that I've opened up, and I'm going to draft them really, really fine. All right, that's enough for now. And I have a chunk of some hand-dyed BFL roving here, and open that up. I just need a little bit just to do some core spinning. Because it's so long, you can literally just tie the fibers on, because the staple length is so freaking long on this. All right, so I'm going to throw this over this way. I'm going to grab this. Now what we're doing is putting twist into our core at the same time that we're wrapping it in another fiber. And it gives it a lovely haloed effect. I'm going to wrap it hard with more fiber. And there we go. So what's happening is we're adding twist here at the same time we're wrapping this on. It's getting severely over twisted. So what I'm going to do is, you can see how much over twist there is there. Just going to draft that out, and without treadling, use up some of that twist. All right, now I got a little too much uptake. There, that's better. So we are making our core at the same time we're wrapping it. Now, because this is so fuzzy, even when spun, those little fibers will grab onto that wrapping fiber, and they will definitely hold them in place. All right, so now we're at the end of that. Now I want to reverse it, and I want to use this as the core and use the Valais as the wrapping fiber. So I'm going to grab a little chunk of our combed out fleece here. Lay that there. I'm going to pre-draft this a bit so that I'm not wrestling with my fibers too much. Okay, so now we got that drafted on. We're going to just pull that back a bit, and then we're just going to catch some fibers. Now, I don't want it to completely cover the core. I just want it to kind of accent the core. So I'm just grabbing a couple fibers and letting them wrap around my BFL handspun. I'm just going to draft that bit out a little thinner. Now, most often I will use the cordless core spun technique when I'm spinning with locks, but I thought this might be a fun little experiment. And we know I love the chaos, so let's see how far chaos will take us. And there was one more thing I wanted to try. So for that, I'm going to need some white fiber. I'm going to grab some, be right back. So this is just some white BFL. It's nice and fluffy and soft. So I'm just going to take a piece off the end, and I'm going to draft that out to be the core. Then I'm basically going to do what I just did. I'm going to cordless core spin some of the Valais over it, and then we're going to dye it and see what it looks like. Just because why not, right? Going to attach our core. Make sure that's good firm attachment. And then we're just going to grab a few little hairs and let them just wrap over it. Just kind of give it a little bit of a halo. Now, there's absolutely no purpose to this yarn other than I just wanted to do it. I mean, do we need any other reason for that? So, here is our cordless core spun. And you can see that the fluff is sticking pretty good. Then this was the wrapped in the Valais over colored roving. Now, if I used a more dramatic color, that contrast would be even more evident. And this is the white wrapped in the Valais. So we are going to go and dye that. And because I only have like maybe 2 yards, I'm just going to do it like in a little bowl or a little dish or something. I don't need to get all fancy. I just want to see how it takes color compared to BFL. Because I know that BFL takes color like beautifully, and it makes really nice, deep, rich colors. So a good comparison then is to actually have them combined together to see how they take the dyes differently. And as you can see, it is very hairy. So this would never be next to the skin soft. All right, let's move to the kitchen.